Hi guys, and welcome to the first Scratch video. Don't know how long this series is going to be, but welcome to it all the same. I'm Zen, and in this video we're going to be looking at how to basically start up Scratch, how to start the program, how to log onto the website, and then how to declare some basic variables. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so as you know, I'm awesome, and therefore I've already pre-set up the system for you on the pen drive. And so this is obviously the portable app system, which I often refer to as the SemPen. And this is a free system. If you don't know where to get it, please look at my other videos. There's a whole, I think there's 3 videos showing you how to get hold of it, download it, install it. All you need is a 16 gig pen drive. All the programs on it are absolutely free. There's no subscription, no nothing. It's just a portable office in your pocket. And one of the things on there is Scratch Desktop. Now, need to make this clear. For the Scratch Desktop to work, you do need to have admin rights on the machine. It does something, I'm not quite sure what it does, but it does do something that requires admin rights. It's a bit weird on a portable program, but that's the case. Also, warning, as you can see here, I'm going to click it to start. It takes a long time for it to start, okay? You'll think that it's failed, that it's not working, but actually it will pop up in a moment, and when it does, we'll go through it. Oops, and there we go. Okay, so that is quite a long time for it. And you can see it looks very similar to the actual website itself, but that's our one. And from up here, you can obviously load files from your computer, save them to them, you know, and all the other things that you would normally do. I'll just minimize that for a moment. If you don't have the pen drive, you know, because you're a wally, whatever it may be, you can still do this on their website. And of course, this is a good option for people who are using Scratch within their schools or colleges. The address is up here. It's Scratch, that's S for sugar, C for cranberry, I don't know, R for Romeo, A for alpha, T for, let's go for Tesla, C for cranberry again, H for home, and then it's dot, and then M for Michael, I for indigo, T for Tesla, dot, E for echo, D for dinner, U for uniform. Okay, so it's scratch.mit.edu. What the heck happened to my phonetic alphabet there? Who knows? Anyway, so when you go on here, in order to use Scratch, you do need to actually join, okay? So you click on Join Scratch up here, and you'll get something that looks like this. Okay, and obviously you're going to put in your username. You'll need to make sure it's unique. Put in your passwords, and then once you've done that, you have to choose what country you're in, and you have to be honest here. You can't say where you want to live. So I'll choose the UK. Then after that, you press Next. And then I've got when you were born. I don't know, maybe they want to send you a birthday card, but once you filled it in, you go to here, and I don't know why they're wanting this, but there we go. And then we go next, and then I want your email address, which obviously they'll need in order to contact you about your account. So you fill that in and then create your account. Okay, so once you've done that, they'll just say it there comes up with a welcome message, and telling you that they're going to email you with some information. But once you've done that, you can see that I'm actually logged in now as Seats. And what do I want to do? Well, I want to create. So press the create button. We give it a few minutes, and you can see that this is extremely similar to this. In fact, it looks identical. So the desktop version that you have on the pen drive system is basically identical to what you get online, and that's really what I wanted to show you. Okay, obviously the difference here is that I'm logged in, but it's nice and simple. Okay, so that's the login bit done and dusted. Now it's time to go make stuff, and I'm going to do it on my desktop version. So I'm going to do these variables in a slightly different order than I've done in the JavaScript and Python, because I can. And I'm going to start off doing the boolean. So in actual fact, making most variables in Scratch is basically the same. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to drop down here to the variables tab, and we select the make a variable option, and then we'll give it a name, and we're going to keep with my standard naming convention, my bool, and we'll do this for all sprites because we're not programming anything in particular, and we'll select OK, and look at that, we've created it. So in Scratch, unlike in Python, but like you can do in JavaScript, we can define a variable, okay, without assigning a value to it. So to give this boolean a value, this is the way that I do it. I first of all go to the events tab. I drag over the when the flag is clicked bit. Then I go back to the variables tab. And what I do is that you bring this set my variable thing over and you click it into place. And then what we do is that we change from my variable to my bool, and then we set the value to true. And that's how you do a variable boolean in Scratch. So the question is, how do we know this is actually true? How do we know that the my bool is a boolean value and not a string with the value of true? So the way we can do that is to do an if statement, which funny enough is coming up in another video, but we're going to have to do it in here for this to be shown. So what we do is we have to go over to the control tab, and then we're going to use the if. And in fact, we're going to use the if else tab. Okay, so we put that in there, and then inside here we're going to do an evaluation. So I imagine we're going to see that in the operators. And so this bit gets a bit messy, but what we're going to do is that we're going to bring over the equal sign, this one here, and in the left hand side we are going to put in the my bool. So we go back to here, we're going to drag that into there, and then on the side here, rather than having it as an equal, we're going to set it to a statement. So we're going to go back into the operators, and we want a greater than symbol. It doesn't have to be greater than, you can actually use anyone you like, but we're going to slide it in there. Okay, so if we just put the value 70, okay, so we just look at this statement. I know we haven't done if statements yet, it comes up later on, but what we're saying is we said that my bool is true, and then we're saying if my bool equals this. So what we're doing is doing an evaluation. We're saying, is 70 greater than 50? And the answer to that is yes, it is true. So this is a true or false statement that we're expecting to get. And therefore we're saying, well, if my bool is true and this is true, okay, this tells us it's a boolean, because a string with the word true would not be the same as 70 greater than 50. That's the theory. And then for that, we're then going to have two sound ones. Okay, and we're going to say, oh, it's not sounds, it's a look, so I apologize. We're going to put in something there and something in here. And so if it is true, then our message we're going to write is my bool is a boolean. And this one here, we put my bool is not a boolean. Okay, and remember, this is just to prove the case, all right? This isn't how we make it, this is the proof of it. Then all we need to do is to run our flag and see what happens. My bool is a boolean, so we know that works. So let's just see what happens if we do this with a capital T. Will it still work? Let's run it again. My bool is a boolean. And just prove it, if we change this to Fred, let's see what happens. My bool is not a boolean. So we can see here that true lowercase, and let's try it with the falses. So false lowercase. Oops, we need to make this a false statement now. So 70 is not greater than 90. So that should now say my bool is a boolean. So both lowercase and uppercase here is okay. So in Scratch, the word true and false can be both in a capital or lowercase. Okay, in fact, we'll just try that with it all in caps just to see what happens there. And we can see it still works. So it doesn't matter how the case is in a word in Scratch, that's how you make a Boolean variable. So the next thing we're going to do here is to declare a string, which is a very similar, in fact slightly easier way than what we had to do here with the Boolean. So we go back to variables. We're going to make a new variable. We're going to call it my string. Oh, I don't like it in capitals, that's naughty. My string. Okay, and again what we're going to do here is we're going to modify this. So we're going to change this drop down menu to my string. I'm going to say this is a string, and we don't need this if else, so we're going to throw that away. We'll go back into control. In fact, we don't even need control, we can just go straight into looks and go into say. Okay, and now instead of hello, we can go back to our variable and we can drag our string in there. Okay, so what we're expecting to see is that now when we run this, we should just have it say this is a string. And there we have it. We have a string. And it should be no surprise to you that a character is basically the same. Okay, Scratch does not have a dedicated character type, just like Python, just like JavaScript. And so if you wanted to make a character, you would just use a single character in there, and again we get a, and that is it. So next one is going to be our number. So the first one in our number list is going to be the integer, and I bet you can guess how it's going to start. It's going to start up here, make a variable, we'll call it myInt. For all sprites, we're going to say OK. We're then going to change it from here to myInt, and we're going to give it the value 10. Now, that is technically enough. When we run this, oops, need to change that to myInt, silly me. Okay, so now we run that and we get 10. Now, here's a problem. Is that a string or is that a number? The only way we can find out is by actually adding to it to see if it works. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop this down first. We're going to go over to operators, and we're going to select this. Oops. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to actually, can we duplicate that? Yeah, duplicate that, myInt, and then we're going to +1 to it. Now, as you can see, it needs to go into something in Scratch because it'll be too easy otherwise. So what we use is, back in the variable one, we go to the set, and we're going to go to set myInt to myInt +1. Now, we could have actually done that probably at the start there, but you can't really give it a value and then add to it. It gets a bit messy. And then we go to myInt. Now, if this is a string, then myInt will be 101. Okay, because it will do what's called a concatenation. If it is an integer, a number type, it will add them, and we should get the number 11. So let's find out. And we get 11. So that is proof that we've got an integer working exactly as we expect it to, because it's been able to do maths on it and given us the right answer. So our next step is to go from an integer to a fixed point number. And again, we're going to use more or less the same technique. So we're going to start up here, make a variable. I'm going to call it myFix. I'm going to select OK. And then what we're basically going to do is to swap out these to myFix. And instead of making it 10, we're going to make it 5.33 for no particular reason. other than we needed a fixed point value. Oops. And then we need to replace that bit. Nope, stay in. Take that one out and put my fix in there. Nope. Can be a bit fiddly sometimes. And then we just want to duplicate that. And throw you away. And so again, what we're expecting to see is 6.33 being the answer. And there we have it. Nice and simple. So creating a fixed point is just as easy, just the same. That then leaves us on to doing our floating point. And again, floating point is where people can get confused a bit, but it is fairly straightforward. So the first thing we're going to do is obviously create the variable. We're going to call this my float. And we're going to set my float. Okay, I'm going to do this in two parts for an important reason. So I'm going to move this to the side. And the format of writing your floating point is the same as we've done it elsewhere. So 3.14 and then E, let's do -2. Okay, and there's a reason for this, as you'll see in a moment. So then we run this. Whoops, let's change that from my fix to my float. And then run it. And then there we go, 3.14 e to the -2. And that kind of makes it look like it's actually a string and not a floating point number, because as we saw in both Python and in JavaScript, it normally converted the standardized form into a sort of fixed point. So now we're going to add this back in. And of course we need to change the my floats, and let's just duplicate that, put that into there, throw you away. Okay, so my float, and then when we run it, we see it gives us a number. Now here's the important thing, notice we've lost precision. Okay, we had 3.14 times 10 to the power of -2, which meant it was actually 0.0314. And you can see here that when we added 1 to it, it became 1.03. So we've lost the 14 at the end. So it, you know, when we're doing floating points in Scratch, we have to be careful with the level of accuracy that we do it. Because if we just add some more numbers in here, let's just experiment a little bit. Okay, so we're going to take this bit back out, put this in, and I imagine we'll probably still be okay. Yeah, it allows us to have that no problem. And when we do this to it, it loses all that precision, and I think that's a... Now we can actually see here that actually it's kept it. Okay, so these are like variable trackers. So it's actually only said out loud, if you like, the 1.03, but it does seem to have actually tracked the full value. Okay, and there's one way we can actually check this, is by sort of reversing this add-in by taking it away. So we can do set, and we do my float, and then we go back into operators, and we need the -1, which I think is this one here. And then we're going to duplicate that, put it into there, and then we're going to take 1 away. And then we'll do it again. So basically what we've done is added 1 and then taken 1 away. And then when we view it, we see it's still now only saying 0.03, but we can see the whole value is still stored there. So we don't actually lose the precision as per se, it's just it's not printed out properly, but all the value is still there. So that's good news. So we've now done booleans, we've done strings, we've done characters, we've done integers, we've done fixed point, and we've done floating point. So our next step is to make an array, or like Scratch has done the same as Python, and for some reason have called them lists as opposed to arrays, but essentially they are arrays. So how do we make our array or list? The first thing we do is go back to the variable tab, and we see here make a list. So we click on that and give a list name, so let's give it scores, and we'll say OK. And you can see over here we've now got the scores list, and there are a couple of ways that we can actually add values to the array. The easiest way is actually just to press the plus button here and to put in a number, 23. And again, remember, they don't have to be numbers, they could be strings, they could be anything you want them to be. Okay, so that's one way to do it. The other way to do it is we get rid of all this and we use the add. Okay, so we put this here and add, oops, it's done it already. Added thing, didn't want thing in there, but we'll just get it off for a moment. So add 12. Okay, and it's like, oh, it's still running. So let's just stop this for a moment. So we've got add 9 to scores, and then we can do that again. 65. Okay, so we've got 23, 45 and 12, and then we should get 9 and 65 added when we click on here, and there we go. Job done. So that's how you can add value to your scores, or add values to your list, I should say. So the final thing we want to do is to get the value out of the array. And for that, it's more or less the same thing. We go back to looks and we do the say, and then we're going to go back to the variables tab and we select what item it is. So as you can see here, the list is first ordered, so it's not zero ordered. So say item 1 of scores should say 23, and so let's see what happens. Can I move this around? Yeah, it moves around so we can still see him. Okay, so trouble is when I do the flag again, 9 and 65 will be added again to the scores, but that's fine. Okay, and there we go, number 23. So if we wanted the third item, we could just change that to number 3. Okay, stop it, run it again, and there we go. And that's it. It is that simple. The last bit in this was to do objects in Scratch, and Scratch does not support objects, so you can't do it. And if you're wondering, well, what do I do in that slide? You literally just put Scratch does not support slides. Scratch does not support objects, and that's it. Okay, so although it's been a rather long-ish video compared to the others, we've actually covered everything from starting this program through to declaring all of the different variable types that we're interested in, until we're good to go. So even though this video has been a bit longer than the JavaScript and Python videos that we've seen before, we've actually been able to contain everything we need in it, from how to start up Scratch to being able to create all the different types of variables. In the next Scratch video, we will start looking at the different types of evaluations, the greater than, less thans and stuff like that. But that's all for the next video. So it's the end of this one. Remember, if there's anything you want me to expand on, or if I made a mistake, make sure you put so in the comments. You know how all the other buttons work. I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm Zen, signing out.